If Prado is Toyota's large SUV for a big country, then the Kluger is the large SUV for the big smoke. As popularity with buyers has meant that the more urban-centric choice was the second biggest seller in segment for 2019. So no prizes for guessing which family hauler was the biggest seller. So if the Kluger, including this AWD Black Edition, is so popular with buyers, why is it merely just good? And if it's merely just good, why is it so popular with buyers? Kluger goodness has proven itself over the years. In the dozen times we've reviewed this third generation since its 2014 debut, it's maintained a solid 7.7 out of 10 average. So how is an aging 7.7 out of 10 prospect on the home stretch to retirement still the second biggest selling large SUV in Oz? One obvious answer is value. Using the mid-grade GXL as an example, the list price of Kluger has actually risen by around $5,000 over the past 6 years, in tandem with one facelift and a number of spec improvements and updates. But for quite some time now, Toyota has been doing drive-away deals across the range that's thousands of dollars cheaper than the recommended retail price before on-roads. And it's across all grades, all except the Black Edition. Our Kluger Black Edition, with all-wheel drive and none more black Eclipse black paintwork, lists for $59,970. As you might expect, the Black Edition adds, well, lots of black stuff, such as black roof rails, black side garnish, black headlights, a black grille, and these black 19-inch wheels to what's otherwise a GXL package. The Black Edition wants for an extra $1,040 for its added blackness on list price. But because it's not currently on special offer, it's over $65,000 drive away, when you can get a regular GXL parked in your driveway for $8,000 less. So while it's certainly quite a handsome rooster in its all black garb, it's not exactly an $8,000 improvement, at least on the outside. If there's one clear attraction to the Kluger package, it's that it feels big and solid. And from the front row at least, it's roomy and airy. There's a sense you get a lot of meat and veg for your money. Like the Kluger is the family-sized supreme pizza of the large SUV set. The specs are familiar GXL fare, which are good rather than great. You get 12-way driver seat adjustment and heating across the front row, but the leather accented trim is probably better described as hard-wearing rather than properly supple. It's certainly no Lexus. There are a lot of hard, shiny plastic surfaces, but you do get a massive 24.5 litre console bin and a nice, large and obvious cubby for your phone, even if there's no smartphone connectivity or inductive charging. The 8-inch touchscreen does get proprietary nav and digital radio, but it does look like it's been plucked from a bygone era. Row 2 accommodation is excellent. Almost limousine-like if you adjust the seats as far back on its sliders as you possibly can. Despite all the blackness in here, it's still really nice and airy. You get cup holders in the armrest, 12 volt for your devices, funny little cubby there, and full aircon control for the air vents in the second and the third rows. Accessing the third row isn't too difficult and it's decently comfortable. And on short trips, even adult friendly. Smart packaging means that you get a pretty decent 195 litres of boot space with a third row in play, which is enough for a week's worth of groceries or a couple of suitcases. Converting to a 5-seater liberates 529 litres, which is good but not class-leading. And there's a whopping 1,872 litres if you need to convert the Kluger into a van to move furniture. On the road, the Kluger is good, though not spectacularly so, at least by the sort of expectations that we have of large SUVs now in 2020. That said, the ride comfort is actually very good, but the suspension can get caught out over square edge acne and potholes with a little bit too much noise. The steering has a lot of what they call sneeze factor or rough center play, so you can kind of saw away at the steering wheel and it doesn't change direction at all, which is either amusing or annoying, depending on your personal taste. The 3.5 litre V6 makes 218 kilowatts and 350 newton meters, and it works pretty hard to get the 2-ton Kluger moving. But it's quite smooth and quiet and runs happily on cheap 91 RON fuel, though it can be thirsty around town. In testing, it rarely dipped below 13 litres per 100. The powertrain response is a little tardy, so you turn it into a corner, squeeze the throttle, and there's a hesitant pause before the engine and the transmission man the battle stations. The The Kluger's big size does give it a sense of value for money and to some extent safety, but it also makes it a little tricky to judge in confined spaces. Now, outward visibility is actually really good. It's just the front end of the car that drops off, makes it really tricky to maneuver in tight spaces. The Black Edition does fit a decent reversing camera and rear sensors, but there are no front sensors, and a big rig like this really should have them. There are no power folding mirrors or LED lighting on the outside, which is a bit of a drub for any car asking for 60 grand. And while we're at it, there's no digital speedo, which can be a license saver if you live in Victoria. The Kluger mightn't be the freshest or the fanciest family hauler on the block, but that's not why so many Aussies are drawn to it. It's big, it's cushy, and it's likeable. And you wrap that in Toyota's hard-earned reputation for dependability, that's enough to seal the deal for the great many who own and love them. But given that right now every other Kluger in the showroom is on a drive-away deal, it kind of makes the Black Edition, well, a little bit of a hard version to recommend right now. As always, let us know what you think in the comments below, hit subscribe, and for more, go to CarAdvice.com.